Today on our 2016 Chevrolet Colorado, we're going to be taking a look at and installing the Roadmaster Diode 7-wire to 6-wire Flexo-Coil Wiring Kit, part number RM-15267. Here's what it's going to look like once it's installed on the vehicle. As you can see here, we've got our left brake light illuminated, and that's illuminated coming through the 4-pole wiring that we added to this vehicle, which then runs to the diode that's behind the light here. And that splits the two signals, one from the wiring on the motorhome that's coming in, and the other, the vehicle's factory signal. It's going to take those and bring them out the same, so then you can just use the factory lights and not have to add any bulb and sockets. It's going to do a great job of giving you your tail light, turn signals, and brake lights on your towed vehicle. And it's going to make it nice and easy because there's no magnetic lights or anything that you need to set up. What I like most about this system is how simple it is to hook up once you've got it all installed. Now, let's go ahead and show you how to install this. I'm going to mount the bracket because we've got our fascia off of the vehicle, and this is going to be a good time to go ahead and mount this up because we'll have a lot more room to work. And I'm going to use this universal short bracket. You can get those on our site, part number 118140. And I drilled 2 holes through the end here because then I also drilled 2 holes in our bumper core. So I'll slide that into place and then use 2 self-tapping screws to hold it there. I took the 4-pole wiring and routed it through my bracket here and just got it started going towards the back just behind over here. Now what I'll do is I'll take my 6-round connector that comes with the kit, and I'm going to take the dust cover off the back and slide it up onto the wiring. And then we've got the screws exposed for the attachment points here for our wires on the back side of our 6-round connector. Now what's nice is each of these have a little etching of lettering for which circuit they are. We've got TM, which is going to be our trailer marker lights, so that's our tail lights. We've got our ground, which is GD there, LT for left, and RT for right. Let's get our 4 wires separated, and then we'll strip back the ends on each of them. So now I'll start making my connections here into each location. So I'll start with my ground, which is going to be my white wire. I'll put that into the one marked for ground. Then I'll tighten up the set screw with a small Phillips head screwdriver. I'm going to make sure it's nice and secure. And then next, I'll take my brown wire for my tail lights to the one labeled TM. And then we'll take the yellow wire, which is our left turn and brake signal, put that into the one labeled for the left. And finally I'll take the green wire into the one labeled for the right side. I'll put my dust cover back over. Then I'm going to take some black electrical tape and just help to cover this a little bit more to help prevent moisture from getting in there and corroding our connections. Once I'm done with the tape, I'll take my connector and push it back into the bracket there. Then I'll use the Phillips head screws with nylon lock washers that come with the kit in order to attach it. I'll use a Phillips head screwdriver and 3/8 wrench to tighten it down. I routed the 4-pole into the frame there at the very front, and I used an old piece of airline tubing as a fish wire in order to guide it through, and I was able to keep it inside the frame all the way back, and then came out this hole that's on the bottom of the frame right alongside the fuel tank. And then from there I headed up the inside of the frame rail, trying to keep it tucked as high as possible. And you also want to be sure to keep it away from anything moving or anything hot that may damage the wires. Then just try to keep it tied up as high as possible along the frame rail, and then routed it across over the top of the frame rail to here, where then we'll be able to go up towards our tail light. Now we'll need to remove the tail lights, and in order to do that, there's going to be 2 Phillips head screws here just on this inside flange of the tailgate. We'll take our tail light, pull it directly towards the rear of the truck so that we can release the tabs that align in the holes there. So now I'll take the lights And I'll twist them counterclockwise in order to remove them from the assembly. And then we'll repeat that process for the other side. Now we'll need to determine which wires are going to be our power wires for each circuit, for the tail, for the brake light, and for the turn signal. So we'll use a test light in order to do that. So we've got tail lights on right now. If we shut our tail lights off, we lose power. So that orange wire is going to be our tail light circuit. So now let's do our brake circuit. If we let off, then that gray one's going to be our brake circuit. Next, let's do turn signals. So that gray wire is also going to be the circuit for our turn signals. So then we'll do that same thing for the other side so that we can identify the wires on that side as well. And after doing that, we determined that they're going to be the same color for the same circuits. Now I routed my wiring up through the hole here behind the tail light, and then I separated the green wire from it, and then I cut this to length so that I'll have plenty to work with here inside the tail light housing. So now what I'll do is I'll separate my 3 wires, my yellow, brown, and white. So this way I'll be able to work with each one individually. So what I'm going to do here on the end of the white wire, so I'll strip this back, then I'll install the blue ring terminal that comes with the kit. Then I'm going to take the self-tapping screw and use it to install this ring terminal to the body of the truck. Now wherever you choose to ground yours, you do want to make sure that you're not going to be poking through into the side of the bed, and that there's not going to be anything that's behind there that you may damage, like wiring. So now we'll work with the brown wire from our 4-pole wiring, because that's going to be our tail light circuit. I'm going to strip that back, and on this side we're going to have to take our excess brown wire that we cut off, and we're going to have to tie those together so that we can send that signal across to the other side so that both tail lights will illuminate. We'll twist these together, and then the diodes come with one yellow spade connector. So that's the one that we're going to use for this, because it's a little bit larger. Make sure that's nice and secure. Now we'll take our orange wire, which is for our tail light circuit, and we'll splice into that. And on either end, we'll put one of our blue spade connectors. Now with the gray wire, which is our turn and brake signal, we'll do the same thing, only using our yellow wire from the 4-pole. Now I'll wrap all of my connections with electrical tape around the end where the wire goes in, just to help prevent moisture getting in there and corroding that connection. And from this point on, any connectors that I put on, I will be putting this tape on. Now I'm going to take some rubbing alcohol and put it on a cloth and clean the areas where I'm going to mount my diodes, so they've got a nice clean surface to mount to. Now I can begin connecting my diodes. On the side that says in, where we've got 2 spades to connect our terminals to, there we'll be putting the one that's going to be coming from that 4-pole wiring that's power from the motorhome. Then we'll also be connecting the wire that's coming from inside the vehicle to that side, and then on the outside we'll be connecting the one that goes out to our light. We can peel the tape off the inside and stick our diode in place. I'll do the same thing to connect my other diode. So now I'll take the other brown wire that I had to add back in and feed it back down underneath the truck. Then we can reinstall our tail light. Then I routed the brown and green wires from the driver's side tail light across to the passenger side. Came back down from the tail light and went across here above the hitch. I kept it up as high as possible, all the way across, and then went up towards the passenger side tail light. Then we'll follow that same process for installing the diodes on this side. Now that we've got everything hooked up and reinstalled, we're going to go ahead and test the system to make sure that it's working properly. And we're going to use this tow doctor trailer tester to do that, but you can do that by simply hooking up to your motorhome. And the one that we're going to be using is part number HM50928, which you can find on our site. So first, we'll check the tail lights. Then we'll check the left brake and turn signal. Then the right brake and turn signal. That's going to complete our look at and installation of the Roadmaster Diode 7-wire to 6-wire Flexo-Coil Wiring Kit, part number RM-15267, on our 2016 Chevrolet Colorado.
Click the link below to shop, learn more, or visit us at eTrailer.com.